Substitution effect, Hicks version. Substitution effect is one of the most important reasons for the demand curve to slope downward. Hicks tries to establish this with the help of indifference curve analysis. The consumer is in equilibrium at point E1, where IC1 is tangent to the price line PL. He consumes M1 units of good X and N2 units of good Y. The income of the consumer and the price of good Y remaining constant, there is a fall in the price of good X. The price line rotates in the anti-clockwise direction and becomes PL2. The new price line is relatively flat. It reflects the relative cheapness of good X. You know very well, a change in price brings out a change in the slope of the price line. After a fall in the price of good X, the consumer will buy more of good X because of two reasons. One, good X becomes relatively cheap. Two, the real income of the consumer goes up. Hicks wants to filter the effect of change in quantity demanded due to increase in real income and would like to have only the effect of relative cheapness of good on quantity. In short, he wants to give due consideration only to the substitution effect. In order to isolate the increase in quantity demanded due to increase in real income, he adapts compensating variation in income technique. Following Hicks, let us reduce the income of the consumer by compensating variation so that the consumer goes back to IC1. After a reduction in income, the price line is P1L1. It is parallel to PL2. The slopes of both PL2 and P1L1 are equal. It means they both reflect the same price ratio. Reduction in income doesn't affect the relative cheapness of good X. The consumer can no longer be in equilibrium at E1 because the new price income situation given by the price line P1L1 is not tangent to IC1 at that point. The price line P1L1 is tangent to IC1 at E2. This is consumer's new equilibrium. He buys M2 units of good X and N1 units of good Y. He moves down along the indifference curve 1 by substituting M1, M2 units of good X in the place of N1, N2 units of good Y. The net result is, after a fall in price of good X, the consumer buys more of it. This is purely because of relative cheapness of good X. This is known as Hicksian substitution effect. Some of the important aspects of Hicksian substitution effect are: 1. Less the convexity of an IC, higher the substitutability between two goods, and more the convexity of an indifference curve, less the substitutability. 2. The substitution effect is used to justify the downward sloping of the demand curve. 3. Hicks uses the change due to relative change in price of good to the exclusion of income effect to derive the demand curve. We shall discuss the last two aspects shortly in a separate video on Hicksian demand curve versus Marshallian demand curve.